Well, we're here in the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. As you can see in my background, today is Friday, January 23rd, and I'm very happy when I see a female that is coming from the financial world, leading in positions of basically innovating what's going on in the markets. Today we have a lady, Genevieve Leveille, and I think I pronounced great her name, and obviously our great friend that is a normal guest, Mr. Steve Allen Lawrence. And I'm going to start speaking with you, Genevieve, because I think the important part is that you are actually in Davos and you firsthand have new information about the innovation in areas that pertain to your expertise, which is basically the agricultural aspect of the blockchain. So if you can start telling us a little bit about your experience and then what you're seeing firsthand. And obviously you mentioned something that is happening also with the New York Stock Exchange, that the first day of the week, by the way, launch a press release saying that we're going to go full blockchain very soon. That would be great. And thank you for coming. Thank you for being with us, a leader at the Bell remotely from the New York Stock Exchange. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Victor, and thank you, Steve, for having me. It's been a tiring week in Davos, tiring because my brain got so much information. And also, it's very interesting to see what I did 5 years ago becoming reality. The project in Haiti was done in agriculture. I'm not an agriculture expert, I'm a food expert. I love food. But what I really thought is that at the end of the day, you all have to live, you have to eat. So, as such, by going into something that everyone had to touch and to be able to be part of, we are all human part of the agriculture value chain. And how do we then redistribute that was really key. And what we did was real world asset and dot and AI were the big two items at in Davos. It was also the first time that we saw a USA house, and we had David Sachs really talking about what the interaction of the US, the new US interaction, are going to be in the digital space.
Excellent. And not only that, and keeping with you, sorry, Steve, I think the other important, interesting thing is how technology it might really solve any hunger in the world. And I'm assuming that the agricultural aspects of all these are going to be able to affect different continents, like Africa and few other quickly because they are outside the technology. But with this technology, we might be able to reach certain areas. If you can quickly articulate all those things, that would be great because that's a great problem we have in the world these days, Genevieve.
Absolutely. Let me just say this. First of all, it's great to see Genevieve, but the most important thing about her particular company is the leadership team. She's very humble and she's got great people above and beyond her background, Columbia, working at the top institutions in the world, and is as quantitative as you get. You look at her whole team, okay? The in-house lawyer from Harvard, Howard University, and Duke. I mean, you've got some really, really, really bright people within that company that know how to execute. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry that they're in, or literally a multi-billion-dollar industry. And when you look at some of the bigger companies in the field, obviously the Hershey's of the world, the big behemoths, IBM Food Trust, are heavily into blockchain. But then you have other smaller companies, all right, that are on the New York Stock Exchange and on NASDAQ, all right, that have started to really see growth in the area. And what you're going to see in this particular field with agriculture is this: a number is a number, an audit is an audit, all right? And you're going to see that throughout not only the food industry, all right, but truly through third world countries. I mean, she can tell you what they did in Haiti in a granular way, and it's absolutely amazing. And I need not tell you how difficult a country like Haiti is.
Listen, Genevieve, I don't know if you can give us some sort of a statistical information and case studies of where are you seeing that the blockchain is helping with the value proposition with companies like yours, and at the end of the day with the agriculture space. That would be great, because obviously that's what investors and other stakeholders are seeing on the blockchain and also on your specific sector.
Yeah, so I'd like to take it actually one step up. Instead of concentrating on agriculture, it's an asset. How do you move asset from one individual to the other with trust? And agriculture, as I was saying to you, was more, if I went in and said, well, I like to move real estate, everybody kind of gets a little crazy because you're not trusting. And that's the problem that we've been facing, is how do you bring trust back in? And how do you bring in the dialogue of trust within, which is what Davos this year was about. It is really, how do we actualize? So 5 years ago, I did something which was moving mangoes. Those are real world assets. I moved them onto the blockchain without putting a token or crypto on there, and moved money as people wish to receive it. And I created a sort of trusting compliance platform. And this is what we're now seeing becoming actuality. And one of the things that I had said at the time was, we had mayhem. It was the wild, wild west. And I think the wild, wild west is calming down. And this is why organizations such as the New York Stock Exchange are really looking at how we can bring this in. And we saw a few years ago the NFT. One of the companies I've been working with is actually working on an NFT. And guess what? They're one of the biggest, they're sponsored by one of the biggest investment companies. And what they're doing is bringing ticket sales, because we know the ticket industry right now is about 25 billion. It's expecting to get about 39 billion. And most of those tickets get bought by scalpers. I don't know if case in point, this week, billionaires got scammed trying to get tickets to USA House
Yes.
for be able to hear the president. How do you use NFT? You could have used the technology to validate, and so that the ticket that was received was actually the ticket that could be used. And it doesn't have to have a crypto behind it, but it has a cryptography behind it. So the technology is what I'm sort of hoping we'll not be talking about blockchain. We'll be talking about the solutions where we need trust, and we need to be able to also distribute the funding where it belongs. So talking about tickets, if we remember not long ago, what's her name, Taylor Swift, how she got so upset because she really lost a lot of money. Her tickets were selling for 10 times the amount. 10 times is stellar, but most artists are about 2 to 3 times. And that's a lot of money. Like Bad Bunny, I went to go see him in the Dominican Republic. The ticket was $5,000. Why would I pay that?
Absolutely.
So this with, the technology comes in. Go ahead, Steve.
I need to really synchronize with her. One of the things that she said right now was, in my opinion, was absolutely brilliant. In order to foster trust, what this vehicle does, it enhances the speed. And that's so critical. You see, trust is always built over time, but when trust can be embedded electronically the way it is, it can cut out through a lot of time, therefore making a more efficient market and two parties trusting each other. I think that's a massive opportunity that the world is starting to see now. And it's always going to come down to trust and credibility. And that's what you're seeing within the entire marketplace is how it develops right now, especially in the ag market, in various markets, all right? But especially, you're going to see a big propulsion in agricultural and in other facets of trust, above and beyond tokens so I think that's the real point that I think the viewers should need to see and understand, is how you develop trust, and trust equals time, and time equals trust. But you can really bring that down into a much faster process with the type of technology that Genevieve and AgriLedger has been able to create for the public and for
Genevieve,
institutions.
I'm going exactly to that, Steve, that you mentioned. I want to grab up and ask Genevieve to finalize telling us where did she see the biggest opportunity in the next incoming quarters? Because if this is being seen by any investor, how they should play, at least for now, what's going on, what sector, how to do it. If you can summarize where are you seeing those opportunities, that would be great for the institutional and the high net worth individual that want to appreciate this podcast and your expertise and point of view, David.
So the big thing nowadays is around AI, but federated AI is going to be the key in my view. And in order to achieve federated AI, you are going to be using some sort of blockchain technology. So really creating those hub and spoke that allow everybody to come in. So banking institutions, so right now we know that banking is somewhat broken. The SWIFT network does not work as we expected. And so we are seeing a lot of investments going in. To one of the companies that I've been working with, Cybernet, are sort of building a fortress grade. And this is what we should be looking at. How are we going to protect? We talk a lot about sovereignty. How are we going to protect sovereignty, but also create the trust that the data that is being received is the data that we need? So when you have the New York Stock Exchange inputting blockchain technology 24/7 trading, that means that we're getting to a trust and money flows in ways that we haven't seen before, and that's powered by the technology.
Absolutely. Steve, if you can do the closing remarks, that'll be great. Remember, today for the audience is Friday, January 23rd. Market seems to be quiet today. We'll see what happens with all the volatilities that might arise. I don't know if you want to say something, Steve, that'll be great. And the closing remark for the audience, either in the US, the Spanish speaking, and abroad.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway from Davos was a lot of uncertainty, but at the same time creating an even playing field. And that being said, the market right now, in general, I believe we're going to make new highs in the Dow. All right, as we see that there's a lot of high quality companies out there, and what you're seeing also is very heavily in the media industry right now with Paramount. Okay, Paramount, Oracle. So there's a new beginning with media and blockchain in data. And we're really starting to see that in many facets having a spillover in other industries. That's what I'm seeing.
Listen, thank you very much, both of you.
Always.
Great to be here at the Further New York Stock Exchange and talking to both of you about, specifically with all respect of other things, blockchain, new asset classes, and the technology that it seems to be changing by the minute that is coming here to the floor, here to the servers, here to this iconic place, the New York Stock Exchange. Genevieve, thank you for being with us. We're going to try to reach out to you for a few other interviews down the road. Steve, you're a local. Thank you for being with us as well. We'll speak with you guys soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.